Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Extra Play, or to Extra Play for the first time. I'm going to start over.
Perfect.
That was a fantastic intro. Hey, everybody, welcome to Extra Play. I am Dan, and we are going to play Uncharted 4, which I'm really excited for. And I am joined once again by a really cool guest named Josh. Would you like to introduce who you are?
I am Josh, and I'm a really cool guest.
Yes.
Wait for it. You'll see.
We had Josh previously to play about 10 episodes of the Tomb Raider reboot, which was a lot of fun. Josh is let's see, what is your title? Level art design specialist?
More or less.
More or less?
Yeah.
Of many years in the video game industry. He is quite cool, and neither of us have played this yet, and we're both really excited to see what Naughty Dog has done. So I guess let's go ahead and just start the thing up here.
Yes.
Click new game. Explorer. So you want the story and adventure but aren't interested in the challenging combat, camera and aim assistance. That's a cool option for them to offer.
I think considering what we're trying to accomplish with this kind of analytic approach, that's probably the right decision.
Maybe. I'm going to start with light and see.
Well, yeah, I don't know how good you are. You have recently completed all the Dark Souls, right?
I have. I beat Dark Souls.
So you may need to just set it to hard.
I'm incredible at video games.
Anything.
Nothing can possibly go wrong. Lock on aim, camera assist, vehicle camera assist. Lots of cool options they're offering here. Okay. We will probably be talking over cutscenes to a certain extent. I have turned subtitles on so all of you can at least understand what the characters are saying, and we'll we'll try to shut up sometimes, but apologies if we talk over anything super funny or interesting. We'll try to be funny and interesting ourselves.
Great, now the pressure's on. Well, one thing we can talk about is kind of what Uncharted 4 says about the medium, the art form of video games, its place in video games. I feel like as a student of design, whether you're a player or a creator of games, it's really important to study both ends of the spectrum. There's the conservative but master of the craft sort of edge of the spectrum, which I feel like this is, where they're not really putting anything new into the ecosystem of video games. But what they are doing, and they're doing almost everything that is done in video games nowadays, they're doing just at the superlative, very top of their game level.
Yeah.
And that would be compared to like the boundary pushing, sloppy, lo-fi, indie side of the spectrum, right? And it's important to keep your eye on both of those and what's going on in both. And so yeah, I'm very excited about this as well. I feel like maybe it's a disservice to say this is the Michael Bay of video games, but I think that gets across the point, which is that they know how to pull all the right strings at all the right times to elicit what they're trying to elicit.
I think so. At the very least, I would call this the summer blockbuster of video games,
Sure.
where like the story is not super complicated. You're not going to
don't know that yet.
Well, okay, maybe it is, but oh geez, there's another boat. Oh, we're being chased. I already love this. Okay, but they're not doing anything incredibly artsy or unexpected or challenging, but they are executing on very simple things, hopefully extremely well and with an incredible amount of polish, which tends to be what Naughty Dog often does these days. Last of Us was a bit more of was kind of pushing things a little bit more on the story side, at least for games, I think.
Yeah, to me, what you're doing thematically is more important than what your plot is actually doing.
Yeah.
And yeah, that had some more interesting thematic stuff. I mean, I'm expecting a Indiana Jones romp.
I am expecting the same. But yeah,
and a satisfying denouement to the whole series. I'm sure that was a big focus of theirs, was to, this is a love letter to the last 3 games and to what that meant to the team over the past decade or however long they've been working on this series.
Whoa.
I'll be curious to see if they can avoid what happened to Peter Jackson when he wrapped up the Lord of the Rings trilogy, which was 45 minutes of fawning farewells and hugs and crying and slow motion bed bouncing.
Whoa.
For them.
But I think it is worth saying that like, there are, even if a game is not pushing boundaries necessarily in terms of design or into new territory, there is something to be said for incredible execution and polish.
Absolutely. And that pushes the medium forward in many ways. You know, it's very rare in any medium, whether it's painting or music or film or anything, where you have both masterfully crafted technique, you know, and boundary pushing. Usually it's going to be one or the other.
That's true. This looks stunning, by the way.
Yeah.
Feel like I should go ahead and just get that out of the way.
I like that felt like there was less than 30 seconds of cinematic at the beginning, and then it throws you right into the action. That's something they've been pretty good at throughout the series.
That is true.
Is thrusting you in media res. There's a way to say that in Latin or something that sounds good.
Okay, time to start driving again.
Is it called driving when you're piloting a boat?
I feel like sailing is wrong, but
It's certainly not sailing.
You're right. Like, that's a rock. That is another rock. Oh, geez.
Some sharp rocks.
Okay. I think I'm headed toward the light. I feel like that's correct. Oh, no, that's just an enemy boat. Well, shoot, where am I headed?
It's an interesting decision on those rock formations. They were pointing all in a direction, and then they were randomly pointing in other directions. So that was A, not very natural looking, and B, if you're going to sacrifice what looks natural, it's good to do so to serve the gameplay or thematically communicate. And it seems like that fell flat on both those counts. Which reminds me, I wanted to say a caveat, which I said in the last series. The people who make this game are far better artists than myself, so every little criticism I have, take with a grain of salt. It's way easier to pick apart other people's stuff, or rather to give actionable advice on other people's stuff than your own.
Yep.
So, yeah, just want to throw that out there real quick.
That is true. No, this game looks incredible, and kudos to the entire team.
Yeah,
for
congratulations,
do.
guys.
Yeah, all the stuff that we try to point out is mostly for attempting to find interesting learning opportunities.
The lighting and the rendering on these characters is just above and beyond.
Nothing. I'll say
It's what's curious to me is. And I'd love to see a behind the scenes on this. I've watched a couple behind the scenes thing, but I haven't seen anything on specifically like how they address the Uncanny Valley, because they're clearly stylized to some extent, but I cannot articulate what that stylization is that makes it so when you're watching this, you know you're not watching video of real people, right?
Yeah.
But I can't point and say, I can tell it's not real because...
It is hard finding what it is that doesn't look quite real, but in an intentional way that avoids Uncanny Valley stuff.
Yeah. Whatever it is, they've seemed to have mastered it. I mean, these characters don't feel creepy to me. But again, they look very real. So
I'm trying to think if there is another studio that
up and around we go.
has achieved this level.
That and I was looking at it specifically in terms of animation, but like it applies to most all of the art in this game that has achieved this level of like character fidelity in performance and look and just the whole package.
Mm-hmm.
Like there are other studios that do something similar, like Assassin's Creed games kind of aim for this. Tomb Raider now aims for this, but I don't know if any have. If any other studio achieves this to the degree that Naughty Dog does.
No, I don't think. None come to mind. Who did The Order?
The Order. Who did do the Order? Shoot, I'm blanking out on the name of the studio, but that did look very pretty.
Isn't it our job to help?
The sheer amount of animation
Yeah, it's pretty mind-boggling.
is, yeah.
What do you want me to do?
So here we see a typical for games right now in this day and age tutorial phase. It's super effective to give you to make your character a child during a tutorial, right? It just thematically it ties in really well as you're naturally, as a player, you're not experienced with the mechanics. I mean, if you played other Uncharted games, you are, but when one is designing a tutorial, you can't assume that everyone knows your game or your genre. There's some assumptions that you know video games in general, right? It's not like the triangle is located on the upper right quadrant of your controller. So there's a certain amount of prerequisite that when you're designing a tutorial, you assume players are going to have. But it's great to make you a kid. I think that's pretty cool.
I think it's a nice touch. And a very Indiana Jones-esque thing.
Yeah, they did that in a previous Uncharted too. I can't remember which one it was.
I think number 3, they also went back to
Damn it.
Younger Nate. Maybe not quite this young.
I think when he meets Sully.
Yeah, that's right. I
Can't believe I remembered a character's name.
They got some good characters in this one, and we've had 3 games to try and sort of learn them. Nate, Sully, Elena. Shoot.
Oh,
There's one more.
I couldn't tell you any of the
I haven't
women's
totally
names.
spotted.
Nathan.
And it's story acknowledged. Nice. It's not just an instant fail state.
Mm-hmm.
Though it may just put me right back.
Yep.
Okay.
Zelda style.
Yeah. The Gerudo have locked me back in the cell. But they're not making me go through the whole thing again, which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so they're using a light source to determine
Interesting.
where my destination is?
That's where you're supposed to go?
Interesting. I wonder if that's like where I'm supposed to go, or if that's where I'm kind of like currently aimed. Like if I... Oh, no, I think it is a...
Huh.
I think it is a go this way.
It's like kind of a theater conceit.
You're in big trouble.
Right, where like they'll put a spotlight on an actor during a scene sort of thing. That's interesting. I would not have thought of that.
Ooh. I'm not doing a good job of sneaking past this nun.
Now, are you supposed to wait for her to...
I think I'm
be
supposed to
looking
wait for
at
her to
different
turn
directions?
around. That's she's watching right now.
I wonder if that checkers box is intentionally placed there to mirror the fact that you got to make strategic moves across the board right now. Chess would have been more apt, I suppose.
I'm not trying to leave the cover here.
Oh, okay, so she's smoking when she turns her head to blow it out the window. That's when you
Oh,
move.
that's a great character idea.
That's really clever.
I love that.
Mr. Catherine, I've forgotten my keys again. Can you open...
Or you just wait for her to leave.
Father.
Okay.
Oh, are you literally waiting for light pools to appear and then you...
I didn't realize I was, but I think I might be, yeah. I think they're kind of giving me signals.
That's rather stilted.
Out the window.
It's really great to teach players climbing on architecture as opposed to organic surfaces like cliffs.
Yeah, much more.
Because the art is naturally going to reflect the binary state of what is grabbable and non-grabbable really clearly.
Oh, good. I'm glad I can make that jump. I was not certain.
Now, in some of the promo material I was watching for this game, they were talking about the one of their design goals was to give the player multiple routes to get to the same location.
Yeah, I saw some of that too.
And I would guess that's not so much the case in this tutorial zone, but I'd be curious, like every time you die, if you try a different direction,
Sam?
than the last one you did, just to get a feel for that. Because I'm curious if, you know, it's essentially the same experience with, you know, slightly different art around you, or if the different directions you can take have more meaningful design implications.
I am wondering that too. Like, when I first jumped out the window with Nate here, it felt like there were several directions I could possibly go, and I just kind of went for the first one that made immediate sense to me. And the character out loud said stuff that seemed to be acknowledging my direction, like going around them, or going around this thing, or up and over, stuff like that. And I was wondering if that was acknowledging this is not a guard, this is just a light. I don't know why I was trying to sneak around it. Can I turn it off?
Probably need to take it with you.
Hey, nice. Oh.
You gotta learn to watch your back. Alright. Hey, it's good to see you, little brother.
Big brother we never knew he had, huh? Or maybe he was mentioned before. I hadn't. I don't recall.
I wonder if North and Baker did the cat. Don't play with the mic. I wonder if Nolan North and Troy Baker did performance capture acting for Kid Them.
That's an interesting question.
You just gotta learn to laugh it off.
Because there's a height discrepancy, so
Yep. Significant one.
You know, one could have been on a box, one could have been on his knees.
I could see them. Maybe they just did the facial capture and had some younger stand-in physical performance.
Yeah, it's really interesting watching the behind-the-scenes stuff where they're you know, on a motorcycle, and they actually built like a wooden, you know, replica motorcycle that tilts back and forth while they're delivering their lines and motion capture and all that kind of stuff.
I love that stuff. Motion capture, performance methods. Okay, guess I... Oh, wait. There we go.
You might. The sister's feeding you enough. The place is kind of empty. Where's everyone?
I really like all the leaves and other detritus on these rooftops.
Yeah, definitely.
That's one of those little touches that sets your game visually apart. That's where reference is so important when you're designing levels.
Come and say hi.
Just going and getting lots of photos of similar rooftops and like just noticing details like that. Just
And even better than photos is going to places that are similar, because just as a level designer or artist, you're going to naturally be drawn to look in the places that someone who's just taking pictures isn't necessarily going to point their camera.
that's true. Oh, come on. There we go.
This way.
Well, that's a nice clear direction.
That it is, and I really love the color. It is to a certain extent the stylized color.
Yeah, it's
happening
the
here.
cyan orange mix that's on every movie poster and color grading on films these days.
Yeah, but is that part of what helps the Uncanny Valley, to avoid the Uncanny Valley effect a little bit? Maybe just the stylized environment they are in.
Certainly, the saturation of colors is something that, you know, they were doing. I'm trying to remember when the first Uncharted came out, but I feel like it was around the same time most of the games were going super mono, you know, unsaturated.
Yep.
Browns and grays.
Take the high road.
Yeah, agreed.
The high road?
Around that, it was not long after that Gears of War kind of era, where gray and brown were much more the thing,
We take the
and but they were doing a lot of stronger greens just being in the jungle, and then Uncharted 2 brought a lot more color to it, a lot more location variety.
Here, come on.
Yeah, so there's all these things happening on a subconscious level, and they're fairly subtle. I mean, if you look at the saturation of well, not here, but in the light, the saturation of those bricks, is that 10% more saturated than a real brick wall is? You know, maybe. It's not like, you know, twice as saturated, which would look like, I don't know, like it was painted with Crayola colors or something.
Yeah.
But it's enough to signal you that this is not a photograph. It's not photographic, but it's lit like a photograph. It's composed like a photograph. Yeah, it's very interesting.
Still dating that girl?
Artistic aesthetic that they've developed.
Currently off again.
Just a slightly more beautiful reel.
Yeah. I would maybe call it romantic realism.
That's a better term.
The romantic art movement tended to be more saturated,
No guts. No glory.
and focus on the sublime, the like larger than life, anything that kind of would make the brain stand back and say, "Wow."
I gotcha. See? No big deal.
Yeah. Nothing to it.
Stay with me.
It's an interesting feature on the side of that wall. I wonder if that's leading you to something.
The missing brick stuff.
Yeah.
So like the bricks seem to get fixed on this end, but the fact that they're still broken over here almost kind of directs me to like it's like an arrow.
Yeah, it is. It just stands out to me as something that I've never personally seen. You know, maybe they have a reference photo of this. You know, maybe it's on the building next door to their office. I don't know. I've never seen that.
It's an interesting detail to use as a signal.
Push towards the goal.
And then okay, there we go.
There's a jump coming up.
Okay.
It's interesting. Okay, so we're still tutorializing here, and now you have an NPC character who's giving you verbal cues. But it seems like most of the stuff he's telling you to do, you've already done.
It is a lot of reinforcing previous lessons.
Reinforcing is super valuable. I can't tell you how many games. I mean, I'm doing Dark Souls 3 right now, and they'll tell you a thing once, you know, in the first 5 minutes, and then, you know, I'm 20 hours in, and I'll be watching someone playing online and be like, wait, you can do that? You can swing your sword that way? You know, you can jump and hack? How do you do? And then, you know, I realize, they explained that in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But never again. And that's part of the charm of the Dark Souls series. I'm told I'm supposed to find that charming. and so, you know, you can accept it, but there a lot of games do that where they'll never tell you again. And it'd be super useful. The latest, well, it's not actually the latest, but God of War, Ghosts of Sparta, just it's on free on the Vita right now, so I got that. And they actually do a really good job of reminding you when situations call for it throughout the first several hours of the game. I think that's something where, as a designer, just watching people play your game, because when you design it, you're thinking, oh, the player's going to do this here, and they're going to do that there, and they're going to use this skill here. And then when you actually watch someone do it, you're just constantly frustrating because they're not doing the thing you expected them to do.
Yep.
And having some way of reinforcing a tutorial moment in those would be nice.
That is true. And it's easy to assume because you showed the player something, they retained it and will remember it.
Here's a good example of stacking mechanics where you're doing climbing and then you have to drop, and without a break, you're on that sliding roof, and then you got to jump and grab. And so it's classic. It should be obvious. A lot of games fail to do that though, where it's like they'll just teach you discreetly the mechanics, but then it's up to you to put them all together under a high stress situation where, to me, that's just not the ideal. You want a situation like this where it's still quiet, it's still calm, and you have multiple tries to do it, to stack the mechanics in interesting ways.
Yeah, definitely. Just enough times to get you thinking creatively about how the mechanics might be combined. Because they can throw a different combination at you later, but if you know to watch for it.
Mm-hmm. Now, having the ability to do this rope trick,
oh boy, here we go.
This kind of reminds me of one of the was it episode Star Wars Episode 2 where
Okay.
R2D2 suddenly has rocket thrusters in his feet. It's like, wow, why didn't he ever use those again? Like in episodes 4, 5, or 6, that would have been really useful for like getting out of the swamp or whatever. so having Drake use this cool rope trick as a kid and then not use it again for all his subsequent adventures except for this one, it's a little weird. On the other hand, it's good to innovate, and that should take precedence.
That it is.
Unless you're innovating rocket boosters on R2D2's feet.
Then
in that case, you don't want to innovate.
Okay, this is where I'm supposed to go. All right. That was a whole lot of effort to get to street level.
Just like that.
Now, because we were jabbering, I have no idea if your brother broke you out of wherever you were, or if he was in there with you.
I don't know if he broke me out. I think I might have just been meeting him.
50? What are you talking about? No, this is the 500cc twin.
No way. Yeah. Where'd you lift it from?
Whoa.
God, that's pretty.
That's a
Right?
low blow. But hey, I'll have you know that I am a changed man. Bought this with hard-earned cash. Yeah, come on, take a seat. What?
The only time you pull a
I
stunt
want.
like this.
I'm trying to think. Can you think of a animated film that has this look?
Has this specific kind
This,
of look.
yeah, this kind of lighting, this kind because the characters remind me almost of what's that terribly creepy Christmas on a Train movie?
Polar Express.
Yes.
And every other also Zemeckis directed
Okay, right,
3D.
right.
Yeah. Like Mars Needs Moms. And it's funny. I was thinking the same thing, like a similar lighting style and kind of look, and that it is very realistic and grounded. Although this looks better than those do.
This somehow avoids what those couldn't. And I'm dying to know what that is.
Take me with you.
I can barely support myself.
I'll pitch in.
I know
It is really hard to pinpoint. Part of it is that I think the Polar Express, given that it's like, 15 years old now, like part of what makes that illusion break is that all the animation feels very motion capture, and that a lot of the busyness that comes with realistic captured movements is retained, and it feels, I don't know, it feels weird. I think that they have probably done a lot of cleanup and tuning of the motion capture data they got to smooth it out.
I think one of the easy ways to fail when you're doing motion capture with this high fidelity character is that a lot of the gross movement is captured, right? Like the head is turning 14.5 degrees, whatever. But then the actual supporting muscle structure isn't moving in the way that it naturally does to accomplish that, right? Because it's driving the rig backwards,
right,
from the gross movement down. And if you don't have, the little, I can't remember the name of that main muscle in the neck, like actually stretch and pull the way it needs to, at the same time, it's going to look like a body is being, puppeted around.
Yep.
And you see some of that in this.
For sure.
But it's a lot less, I think, than in some of those Zemeckis films.
This is smart. They age you up a bit before they get to teaching you fist fighting.
Yeah.
Oh, the subtitles are not translated. It's kind of nice, actually. Oh. How much they use the camera to reinforce impact and movement during their fist fighting.
This is also very clearly teaching you the directional damage UI.
Yep.
What a great way to keep you in an arena. Just so organic and feels right and looks right. That's really impressive. Now when those guys grabbed you and he was punching you from the front, was that something you failed at, or was that a scripted thing to happen?
I think it was somewhat scripted, or like a situation you can get put in, but then you need to like jam triangle to get out of it.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. I wonder if I can get caught up by them again like that, if he punches me into them. They seem to be mostly pushing me back out. Wow, I punched right out of the getting pushed back in. There's just dozens of animations unique to just a one-on-one fight alone.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, I think when I play through, I'm going to try to do as many things completely differently that you did as possible and see, you know, when I get knocked down, is it going to be right in that same mud puddle? I'm curious how their system works.
Yeah.
We weren't fighting, huh? Right, little guy? Voy a matar, hijo, come mierda. Hey, give me a call when you're tall enough to ride the rides. Te voy a sacar tiras por el culo.
Solitaria, cállalo.
Te voy a estar esperando aquí, eh?
Abre.
That place feels humid.
It does.
It's good to have an environment's art make you feel like it's humid.
Yeah. And I assume that's a benefit you would get from actually going to places to experience them as opposed to just looking at reference photos as well.
Yeah.
Like if you feel some way around a place, then even if the photo doesn't necessarily capture that, you know you need to figure out a way to communicate dampness in the air or the temperature.
Yeah. Something I've heard from a lot of writers is how invaluable it is to actually go to a place that you're writing about, to experience all the senses.
Get up.
I was having a great dream, too. Hey. All right, easy.
I was kind of surprised to find out that this was the first Uncharted that they've used facial capture for.
Oh, is that true?
Yeah, like they've never used, in all the previous Uncharted games, the physical body performance has been mocap, but the face has been hand animated.
Oh, wow.
And
Well, that certainly speaks volumes to their previous animation work.
oh yeah, like they've got
Not
a stellar animation team at Naughty Dog, but they're getting great results from the facial capture in this. Feels very tied together.
What happens if you, or do you have any control right now?
Oh, I do.
Okay, they put a guy behind you. Yeah, I was
they did.
curious if you decided to go the other way.
I wonder if he'll actually. No, I turn around automatically.
Oh, okay.
Hey, nice to see you.
It's nice to see some gaps in their enormous animation library.
The handcuff resistance library, what had to be cut?
That was a stretch goal.
Tengo un cuchillo que tiene tu nombre, amigo. Te lo
Hey,
mostraré
Vargas.
cuando regrese.
Déjanoslo a nosotros. Nos encargamos de él.
Muévanse.
The fact that you can get such good lighting in the shadow on Drake right there, and then
Yeah.
that like super excellent halo glow over the people out in the sunlight.
Yeah, and the lighting subtly shifts and changes when you walk outdoors completely. Yeah, their lighting engine is just something else.
Abre la reja.
¿A dónde lo llevas?
Es una sorpresa.
Diviértete. I do speak a little Spanish, you know.
Surprised
What did you say?
Nate can't speak Spanish. Pretty sure he did in other ones. I don't know if this is before or after his
look
other
a-
adventures.
He does look a hair younger. Maybe he didn't learn Spanish till later. Maybe this is why he decided to learn some Spanish.
Oh wait, can you walk back a little bit?
No,
Oh, you're
not
in a
anymore.
cutscene, okay. I was gonna say the puddles on the floor
Oh, and this little.
are the same texture on both sides. That's the first time I've noticed a repeating texture.
You gotta find what imperfections is in this game you can. Honestly, they hide them so well. It's
Yeah,
like,
I mean, what that speaks to is just the high bar that they.
exactly. At this point, I'm just wanting to like. It's nice seeing some reassurance that this is a dev team of humans, because this is ridiculous.
Now that is a video game door right there.
Yeah, this isn't sketchy at all. Hey, you know, this doesn't look like the warden's office.
Go left.
No.
Your other left?
It's,
Did that auto turn?
No, it didn't. I just
okay.
kind of, it felt right. So part of the thing that's, the thing that I like about playing these games, even though they do tend to be pretty on the rails and it's just you're playing a movie, and that's the fun of it, honestly. But what I like is that you, the player, are kind of the actor playing Nathan Drake, and
Yeah.
like you're like you will have the most fun.
It is role playing in a very like specific definition of it, right? It's
It is. Like if you have a crazy chaotic sequence where you got to escape a building that's falling apart, they'll start you in there. They'll have set up all the special effects and everything else, and the game will essentially yell action when it tells you to start playing. You'll start running and you'll try to jump and survive. And if you miss your mark, you'll fall or do some other thing. The game will yell cut, start you back where you were, and then play. But if you do it right and you hit all your marks and you jump where you're supposed to, you will make an amazing looking movie.
Yeah. There was a game that actually took and ran with that theme, I don't know, probably 10, 15 years ago.
Was it Stuntman?
Yeah, Stunt Driver?
Oh, there was Stunt Driver.
Yeah.
Or was it called Stuntman, but it was basically a driving game. I remember the driving game. That's
Yeah.
what I'm thinking of, too.
Yeah, there was like a Batman themed one. Well, that may have been the sequel. I don't know. But yeah, there were two of the games that they managed to release, and yeah, one was like a Dukes of Hazzard kind of game. One was a James Bond kind of or movie. And yeah, it was literally, you know, the director shouting in your ear if you missed stuff, and you know, if you did it inaccurately enough, you would be cut, and you'd be all frustrated, and you had to start over.
I remember playing one of those. That was kind of fun.
I hope someday you will find your...
Although having the fun of that experience, but as part of an actual movie you get to watch and enjoy at the same time, is added value to me. Because I enjoyed the Stuntman stuff as well, but at the end of the day, like it's stripped down to just hit your marks, achieve these goals, and then maybe they'll show you like kind of what the scene in the movie sort of looked like, but it's not as part of a larger film that you're watching with a story and everything else.
Yeah.
So it's
that would have been quite a stretch goal.
that it would have. But
Add a movie for each of these jobs.
exactly. But Uncharted essentially gives you that, and it's an experience I enjoy. I love this series.
Por favor.
How you gonna get up there anyways?
Climb. Oh, unless, of course, you want to do it, since you want in and all.
Just don't break your neck.
That's the plan. Hey,
I think this is a fine time to call it for the first episode of this. We're going to be playing a good bit more of this, though, because look at this.
How can you not?
Before we go, I almost forgot. Where can people find your stuff? Because you make videos on YouTube as well.
Oh, I do, yes. I still don't have a custom URL, but if you search for Josh Foreman on the YouTubes, you should find me.
Here, I'll put up a link right now in the corner, and you guys can go click on that to check out his stuff. What sort of stuff will they find there?
So right now, a lot of art tutorials for everything ranging from giant gummy worms to sculpting with Sculpey and 3D printing, just a lot of various things. And eventually I'm going to be getting more into more design analysis stuff, more in the wheelhouse of extra credit stuff. So
I recommend checking out the Guild Wars gummy worm tutorial video. I thoroughly enjoyed watching that. Anyway, you guys check that out, and we will be back again soon for more of this. So thank you for watching.
see you next time.